So that ring billboard said, "Break the internet, buy your engagement ring here." You probably want to choose your engagement ring based on what performs well on social media. Morning, my dudes. I'm at work. Andrew and I worked out at about 5:30. We've been doing that every day except for Saturday and Sunday. Today was obnoxious and hard to lift. Then we braved the rain to get some coffee this morning with Daniel and Theron. I didn't film us hanging out, but I did film this. Total time from walking in to sitting down with my coffee, 14 minutes. What is your deal, Starbucks? I've got a really long to-do list today. So I just heard from Andrew that Pastor Jeff offered to let me ride up with him and Dave and Andrew to the pastors' conference in California in a little while, later on this month. And I can't think of a more hilarious situation than us all riding in a car to California together. I hope two things. I hope Pastor Dave drives again, and I hope he gets as small of a car as he did last time. Because Pastor Dave driving in basically a Chevy Aveo with us, his knees were up to his shoulders as he was driving. Just do me a favor, YouTube. Remind me not to sit in the front seat next to Dave, because then Jeff will be behind me and able to poke and prod. My to-do list today is insane. I had to do the bulletins and the ProPresenter stuff for 2 services now, because this Sunday we're having our second service start indefinitely. I feel like I'm really behind on that. I'm not technically, but I feel like I am, because I don't have anybody for the last 3 Sundays in October to do music, so I need to figure that out ASAP. I'm hoping that Joshy and his band really enjoy playing and that they'll be willing to sign on for a couple weeks, a month. I have to do a little bit of stuff on the internet, register for stuff and cancel stuff. Morning Bible study is going to happen at 9:30. I'm going to peek in and say hi to everybody at that, and then I got to connect with Dell about what his responsibilities are going to be for the early service in the future. Then I got to meet with one of my members about his son. It's not good. Oh, crap. Remember when I had Japanese boys staying with me for a while? One of them left older school stuff at my house, so I need to mail that off, and I forgot it at home. So hopefully I have time to run home, address that, and stick it in the mailbox. And then I have 2 members that are in the hospital that I want to go see today. If there's time and if the weather clears up, hopefully I can get those done today. If not, I'll just make a plan to see them on Sunday. And then I have premarital counseling with a couple later on tonight. Yeah, it's going to be a long day. In the middle of that, I need to lesson plan and work on my sermon, but I didn't even put it on my list because I have a feeling I'm not going to get to it. Let's see what I can get done. It's rainy outside, which is as good an excuse as any to drink peach tea. But first I got to wash out my mug because I let a half a cup of coffee evaporate in it. Ew. Super muggy out, but you know your boy's at Whole Foods getting lunch. It's actually breakfast because it's super early. I got some eggs and some sauteed vegetables to eat, but I also grabbed a whole bag full of frozen vegetables because lunchtime I just scored some sriracha on there. Okay, so I'm listening to Dear Hank and John, the podcast, and they're talking about news from Mars. And the news from Mars is that there was a NIAC grant that was given to a company that wants to study how to put people into therapeutic hypothermia on their way to Mars. So they basically sleep the whole trip, so they don't take up as much space, and they don't eat as much, and they don't poop as much, and they just kind of get there to Mars. And the application is not for the first trips to Mars, but a future later trip where they would send hundreds of people to Mars in an effort to maybe repopulate, or not repopulate, but other populate, create another human civilization elsewhere in the solar system. And it got me thinking, say you send hundreds of people to Mars. How many years do you think it would take for there to be the first war on Mars? 6? Maybe? Okay, so I just had another interaction at Starbucks. Yes, this is my second coffee of the day. Yes, I realize it'd be cheaper if I bought coffee at a store and made it in my office, but whatever. But here's the thing. 2 things. One,
why do they try to give you your drink before you try to pay? Why is that a thing? Your hand just gets in the way. I almost knock the coffee out of your hand every time, because the generally agreed upon social principle is I pay you, then you give me the thing. I mean, what would you do if I just took the coffee and drove off? I mean, I know you know me, but it's so, here's my point. It's awkward. It's not that it makes me mad. It's that it makes me feel incredibly awkward. And since I don't like feeling awkward and I feel awkward there all the time, that's what makes me mad. It's not like you've done anything bad or done anything to hurt me. You've just made me feel a feeling that I hate to feel. And that's why I'm mad at you, that particular Starbucks. Stop being awkward. Just do things like normal people do them. And while we're at it, waiting a minute to have any kind of interaction with me when I pull up to the window is dumb. Open the window and say, hey, your coffee will be up in a second. Take my payment. And then close the window. Avoid me if you want, and then open it again to give me my coffee. Don't just sit there with me wondering if I have time to send off another text message or not. I'm just sitting there anxiously waiting to give you my phone so that you can boop the thing, and then you pop out of there with a coffee, and what do you think is going to happen? Stop being weird.
Like, I just want to punch her. I've never punched anyone.
What a day it's been so far. I ended up having a really, really busy afternoon, which doesn't normally happen on Wednesdays, but it did today. A lot of people needed to have conversations, and a lot of stuff needed to get handled. I'm at Sprouts picking up some soup for Erin because that's what she wants for dinner. I, on the other hand, am going to have way too many leftover meatballs, which we made the other day, and then I'll hang out for just a little bit, and then I've got an appointment with a couple later on for premarital counseling. I got most of the things done on my to-do list today, which is good, plus a bunch of stuff that got added to my to-do list later on. I'm starting to stress out a little bit about this, or at least about this second service at church on Sundays. I'm getting to the point in my career at Mount Calvary where there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of things to keep track of and a lot of things to remember. I would benefit greatly from having an administrative assistant, but I do the best I can with Siri, so we'll see. Hopefully I don't drop the ball on anything. I've been better at writing down appointments and stuff like that. So one thing that used to be bad at Christ, and it's even worse now at Mount Calvary, is people want to hand you things on Sunday morning after church. They want to be like, oh yeah, by the way, remember this forever. And my brain kind of shuts down as soon as I'm done preaching on a Sunday morning. So it's always hard when they're like, oh no, I told you that thing like 3 weeks ago. I was walking past you as you were greeting people in line after church, and I said, hey, remember this thing. So I figured you'd remember it forever. Doesn't happen. It was bad at Christ. It's even worse now that I'm the only guy. Anywho, gonna go home and eat and relax for a few minutes and then get ready for my evening appointment. There is not enough time in the day